So I've noticed quite a bit in the comments lately that you guys really enjoy and appreciate the video quality here on the channel. You appreciate the effort that I'm putting into these videos. So I thought I'd do an updated 2018 YouTube camera gear video. That way maybe if you make YouTube videos of your own and you want to see what I'm using, or maybe you just really like watching my channel and you're just curious to see it behind the scenes, this is going to have a lot of really helpful information for you. So yeah, let's get right into it. So first of all, we have the camera. I recently switched, I think back in October, to the Sony a6500. Prior to that, I was using a Canon 70D. Upgrading to this, it really wasn't that big of a deal, but there were three main features on this camera that kind of made me gravitate towards this instead of getting another Canon camera. But for this price range, this has three main features that I really like. One of them is the 120 frame per second slow motion. That's probably my favorite feature and the main reason that I chose this camera compared to some of the other ones that I was looking at. But basically with 120 frames per second, that allows you to slow down the footage to 20% of its original speed, and it's going to play back perfectly smooth. It's not going to look choppy or be missing frames or anything. So yeah, that's one of my absolute favorite things on this camera. I use slow motion as often as I can. The next thing is that the a6500 has in-body stabilization, so it actually stabilizes the image sensor itself. That's really handy for me because on this channel, any shots that you see where there's any kind of camera movement, it's literally me just like holding the camera. I don't use a gimbal or anything like that. It's just all handheld shots. So having that built into the sensor, super helpful. Also, the main lens that I use, that I'll talk about in a minute, is not an image stabilized lens. So again, having that actually in the camera body is super helpful for me. And then the last thing is that, of course, this camera is 4K, and a lot of Canon cameras in this price range are not. 4K is not that important. Like, it's not actually going to make your video quality any better. Like, in other words, if your lighting sucks in 1080, your lighting is going to suck in 4K. But one thing that I have noticed lately is that it seems that YouTube is starting to prioritize 4K videos in the search. Just like a few years ago when they introduced 1080p playback, 1080p videos started to rank higher, and my prediction is that within the next year or so, that's going to be happening with 4K. Like, I already know on my 4K TV, when I open the YouTube app, it asks if I want to watch videos only in 4K, and then it'll only show like 4K search results. So that's just something to consider. Again, as far as actual image quality, 4K is not that important, but maybe on YouTube in the future, it will help your videos get more views. So one thing about the a6500 or just Sony cameras in general is the batteries do really suck. So if you're gonna pick one up, I highly recommend that you get at least 2 additional batteries. So here's a Sony battery in comparison to a Canon 70D battery. You can see the size comparison there. For the lens, about a month ago, I got this Sigma 16mm f1.4, and this has been my main lens on the channel. Pretty much all the videos that I made since February have been shot through this lens, and I've been using this basically exclusively as my only lens when I go out. This is like the exact setup that I have: this mic, this lens, this camera, and that's pretty much it. What I like about the 16mm Sigma lens is that it's a really wide angle lens. It's kind of a weird combination of being like ultra wide angle but also ultra wide aperture, so you get that really nice shallow depth of field that everybody seems to like these days. And it's also a wide enough angle that you can use this lens for vlogging. It's really helpful like trying to shoot inside my car, which is a really tight space, but like you saw in that interior cleaning video that was all shot on this lens, and it really just lets a lot of, you get a wide perspective, but it's also that wide aperture, so it lets in a ton of light, and you get that shallow depth of field look. So on the top of the camera, we have the Rode Video Micro. This is like their smallest and most affordable mic that Rode makes. I think this is about $60, and I like how the form factor of it, like I can still kind of use this as a camera. It doesn't really interfere at all with the viewfinder because it's so short on the back. Also, I like that this is just plug and play. There's no batteries. You don't have to like forget to turn it on or carry extra batteries around. It just plugs in and you're good to go. You don't even really have to think about it too much. Another really nice thing about this particular mic is it actually includes this windscreen in the box. It's a really nice touch because all of Rode's other microphones, this is like an accessory that you would have to buy separate. So very nice of them to include this in the box. I almost always have this attached. I just took it off to make this video so that you can see like what the microphone looks like. But yeah, this is like always on here. Kind of looks like my hamster a little bit. For my light, I just probably 3 months ago got this Diva ring light. I really like this thing. Before I had this, I was using these two really big soft boxes that I got on Amazon. They were really cheap, but they kind of got the job done at the time, but I recently upgraded to this. I love this thing. It's daylight balanced. My favorite thing about this is it actually has a dimmer switch on it. So like it really helps you get the exposure dialed in on the shot. Previously, the big soft boxes that I had did not have a dimmer switch. It was either on or off, and if you wanted it brighter, you actually had to move the lights closer, which isn't always convenient. But yeah, I really like this light. The other nice thing about this light compared to the soft boxes is that it has a really small footprint, so when I'm not using it, I can just kind of fold it down and put it behind my couch. It's out of sight, whereas the old ones, they took up my whole closet. Couldn't really use the closet for anything else when those were in there, so I highly recommend this light. And then for the tripod, this is just kind of like a hand-me-down that a retired videographer gave to me. It's just some Dynex legs, and then I got this fluid head for it. The fluid head is really cool because it allows you to get like a really smooth, let me unlock this. When you turn it, you get that really smooth panning left to right. Also, this is just kind of small, it's lightweight, I can just throw it in the trunk of my car, not that big of a deal. But lately, I've honestly been trying not to use a tripod. I'm just doing more stuff handheld, having my wife help me out with some of the shots. Like you saw the interior cleaning video that I shot a few weeks ago. She actually filmed that whole video, and to me, I don't know, I think when you have the camera like on a tripod the whole time and you're just talking to it like this, I think after a while it just gets a little bit stagnant. But just giving her the camera and letting her kind of do her thing, I just think it makes the video just look so much more dynamic, and you really feel like you're there in the shot actually watching the stuff happen. So this is a tripod. I don't really use it that much anymore, but yeah, that's what it is. So when I get done shooting for the day, I edit all the footage on this 27-inch iMac. Honestly, I kind of impulse purchased this last summer after my old PC kind of died randomly on me. I needed a new computer, and this just seemed like a good choice. I knew even at that time that I was going to start shooting in 4K eventually, so I needed something that was going to be powerful enough to handle the 4K files, and this computer just does that flawlessly. I have no complaints about it. Also, it's a 5K display, which is also helpful when you're editing the 4K footage, so I really enjoy using this computer. For the software, I use Adobe Premiere Pro to edit the footage, and then I use Adobe After Effects if I want to add any titles or any little animations or things to kind of spice up the video a little bit. I'll use After Effects for that. I have the Adobe Creative Cloud, which is a $50 a month subscription, and that gets you Premiere, After Effects, Photoshop, Lightroom, Illustrator, Audition, and a few other programs. So for $50 a month, I think that it's a really good deal. If you can get a student discount, if you're in college or something, you can get it even cheaper than that. I think it's like $29 a month, but it's a good deal. You get all of those programs included. I personally really like Premiere for video editing. Some people like Final Cut, but again, I started off on a PC, and Final Cut is Mac only, so I just kind of started off with Premiere, and I just like the fact that the whole Adobe ecosystem, it all just works together very seamlessly. And then finally, as for the music, as of January 1st this year, I've been licensing all the music on this channel through epidemicsound.com. It's a $15 a month subscription, and that gets you unlimited access to their library of copyright-free music that you can use in your YouTube videos. You don't have to worry about anything getting demonetized, so that's really helpful. Prior to that, some YouTubers will allow you to use their music in exchange for you just putting their name in your description, but I was still getting copyright issues with that. You can try to dispute them. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, but with the actual license through Epidemic Sound, if there's ever any issue, you just send a copy of your license, the PDF to YouTube, and they get it sorted out. So $15 a month, really not that bad. Alright guys, and then just one more final thought here is just don't let the gear hold you back. I've had people comment like, oh, I want to start a channel, but my camera's not good enough. I'm going to wait and save up until I can get this. But I'm just telling you, just start with what you have and then just like gradually upgrade as it makes sense. I know this video, I just kind of talked about some expensive gear that I'm using, but I didn't have all this when I got started. I would just kind of gradually reinvest my YouTube earnings into the camera gear, into the lighting, the microphone, all that. So don't worry if you don't have it all right now. Just get started with your channel. Get it rolling, and then invest in the gear later on. So that's all I had for this video. If you're interested in learning any more about this particular gear that I'm using, the link will be down in the description to my kit. It's got all the prices and everything for Amazon if you want to check those out. I'll also leave a link to Epidemic Sound. And then one more thing is I want to leave some links to some video YouTubers that I'm really interested in, that I follow closely. I think that the learning is actually a lot more important than the gear itself. I'm just learning how to use it. I'm always kind of researching different tips and tricks to really get the most out of my camera, get the most out of my editing software, and just make the best videos possible. So yeah, I'm gonna leave links to a couple channels that I watch. Thanks for watching, guys. Give me a thumbs up if you found this information helpful, and I'll see you guys in the next one.